And on today's show, how creating commercial value for your practice can pay off big in the end. Part 5 of this week's series on industry trends that will change the financial industry with nationally recognized top industry consultant, Chuck Hollander. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to day 5, Chuck.
Thanks, Steve.
Man, if your mind isn't blown by now, if you've been watching the last 5 days, you say, my practice is in a shambles, you know what I mean? But really, we're doing this because it's for our welfare to hear this. It's for our wellness.
Satisfied, aware, fix, right?
Right.
We're satisfied. We're not making changes. So today we're about making it aware.
Well, let's look at this. I love this. And I'm trying to go through, this is like therapy for me. Okay. So I'm watching this. How well have you identified that you'll achieve your company's vision? I'm thinking, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I don't think I got there.
Yeah.
So talk about this, because look at these numbers.
So one of the things we do is like we started in the beginning, get people, the movie Moneyball, get people to look at things differently and not accept conventional thinking. So one of the things we ask them, have you identified a vision for your business? Most have not. Their vision is, I want to move from 250 to 500,000 in commissions. I want to move from 500 to $1 million.
Well, can I stop you there? How did you do that, though? You've done this. You've already went through. You went from 100 to 250, 250 to 500,000. Well, you kept going up.
I hired somebody who was a guru in this, and had I never met him, probably heard a lot of what I'm talking about. It would have been a different way, and that's Mark DeBergen. And Mark DeBergen needs to be credited for bringing the idea of strategic planning to the industry. Mm-hmm. He's really he's had a huge impact on the independent RIA space. Our space, the life insurance industry, we're still poster children of this. Mm-hmm. So that's where it was impressed upon me.
Well, the thing that I like about it is we're not talking about some kind of marketing methodology to improve your practice or up your game a little bit. We're talking about real results. Yep. From a real producer who has done it. This is why you're fascinating to me. You're not only a producer, you're a teacher.
But go back to what you said. The neat thing about this, there is no cost. This is a shift in thinking. This is a shift of going about your business. That's why I left the business, because I'm tired of seeing the way people are brought into the business and failing. There's no wonder, because you're told, go out and sell more. And to grow in the business and exit the business. So the industry has not had this wake-up call yet as the kind of cost and consequences. So we're so short-sighted. We are so short-term. We have no long-term vision. And that's because we don't treat our practices like a business. So in this case here, how well have you identified how you'll achieve your vision? Most firms say, I haven't even identified it, right? But for the ones who have, they're telling me it's okay or not so well. I mean, think about this. Mm-hmm. That's like me asking you, how's your vacation home in California coming? You're like, what's it look like? And you don't even know what it looks like. I mean, think about it. How can you build a business and you're not even sure what it's going to look like, or how confident you'll even be to achieve it? It's and this is your business. You're spending 40, 50 hours a week in this. So how many years ago did you start your practice? Look at this. If we add these up, it's almost 75% over 6 years. So when are you going to figure out what your business is going to look like? And when are you going to get confidence in the plan? So one of the things we talk about is building a strategic plan. The path may not be easy, but it's got to be crystal clear.
Well, I guess that's so important about the clarity issue.
Because if you're not sure on where you're going, think about it. How will you know when you even got there? How will you be able to adjust course? You can never fly in a straight line. It's just not possible. So how do you recalibrate if you don't even know what that future looks like? So when we talk about this, building a healthy business, our focus has been over here, not on the business side. So when you compromise the health of the business, you're not fully optimized and the system falls apart. You do this in a relationship, in a marriage with your kids, or a business or a university, you compromise the health of the system, everything else falls apart. So our focus is here. It's not on the health of the enterprise. So we teach building a healthy enterprise.
I think we're infected with our own, we've been taught to do this. This is what we've been doing. We've been responding to our mentors, the companies that brought us into the business. Whatever we've done to get into the industry, we're doing it. It's all about sales.
Yeah.
And you're saying, no, this paradigm's all about this, and this will then bring sales.
Well, it's not all about this. What I teach is you can't value sales over business. You can't value certain things over your marriage, because if you do, your marriage will fall apart. And you value certain things about your body will fall apart, and it'll tell you, right? So for those of you who have had any ailments or anything, it's most likely that you have valued other things and not the health of the system. So here I want to value equally.
We come back from the break. We're going to continue this because we want to build commercial value for your practice. This is the end game. Why are we doing all this? Because there's an end game to this. There's a purpose. So you can walk out of this industry and be satisfied. We'll be right back in about 30 seconds. Back in the day, life insurance professionals were called field underwriters. Then, carriers trained their field force in the basics of life insurance underwriting. Today, the insurance industry doesn't educate the agent population as they once did. But now you can have the Informed Risk Guide at your fingertips so you can illustrate a reasonable rate class for your life insurance prospects. Just request your copy of the Informed Risk Guide at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. It's free from Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back to our second segment, and we're looking at, this looks like such a sensei slide.
You know what I mean? Sensei.
Yeah. But I love the battleground issue because this is the battleground and everybody battles this issue. It's all about performance. Well, sales performance over business performance?
Yeah.
Why can't it be together? Why can't it be not, why does it always be mutually exclusive? Why can't I have it both?
Well, you could have it either way, but if you're going to build a healthier and a sustaining practice, you got to have balance, right? There's a reason why the Chinese came up with this yin and the yang, right? So when you value sales, you compromise this, as we talked about. When I ask most advisors what they see, what do they recognize in these two formulas, is that they both come up with two. Well, this is effective. This is inefficient. So if we can spot the inefficiencies like the movie Moneyball, if we can spot them, you need to know where to look. If you can identify them, what happens when we reverse that -1 and reverse that trend? 3 + 1. Now we're at 4. We're getting this exponential growth. You can't get that from products. You can't get that from riders that give you no sustainable advantage. This is how to build a sustainable and healthy practice. Even if you don't care about commercial value, then you're restoring your income, restoring your full income potential, and your leisure time, your freedom.
So this is not about product. This is not about planning strategies. This is about improving the way we play.
Absolutely. And that's what the movie Moneyball was about. It wasn't what you had, it's how you decide to spend it. Back to the advisor. If you are an advisor, you're going to put 2,000 into this year and next year, and you do that for 5 years, that's 10,000 hours. How are you spending them? We learned that advisors are working on things not helping them grow. We learned about differentiation and client procrastination and stalled deals. These are all sources of that -1. These are all sources. What I estimate, conservatively, 30% increase in production and performance by addressing these without changing the game.
Talk to me a little about the opportunity, because everybody says, okay, Chuck, I'm buying into what you're saying. I'm drinking your Kool-Aid now.
Okay.
How do I play?
So if you're sipping the Kool-Aid, what I teach is stuff that's not a gimmick. These are institutional processes. And that's what Mark Tibergien was credited for. He recognized that the institutional thinking is strategic planning, and he brought it to the advisor community. I don't care if you're a billion-dollar company or a university or an advisor, sole proprietor. All you have is your time, your talent, and money. The question is, how will you spend them? How will you spend your time, your talent, and money? As Mark said, when you're working on things not helping you grow, it's like watching your inventory walk out the door to an ordinary business. So a strategic plan purposefully and predetermines how you're going to spend these things to accelerate the vision of your business. Your path to revolutionizing your practice may not be easy, but it's got to be crystal clear. Most advisors are not clear on their future. All they're clear on is, I want to move from 500 to 1 million. That's a nonsense substitute for having a business vision. Here's the payoff. Optimized earning capacity, restored freedom, and transferable business value. The lone wolf, he can hunt just with a limited capacity. He teaches this to the entire pack, and it doesn't matter. We create efficiencies. When one wolf gets tired chasing down that elk, another one steps in. When that wolf gets tired, another one steps in. If you don't believe me, go Google it on the Discovery Channel. It's fascinating how they work as a true team. A shared vision, operational efficiencies, and they can accomplish more together.
And it sounds like they're okay sharing the elk.
They're totally okay. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Restored freedom and transferable business value. That's what your playbook is. So if you don't have a playbook, you're leaving your most important asset up to chance.
I was thinking after watching the last Super Bowl, they showed some sideline shots. They have film. They have photographs. They have all these plays. They have their entire season in a monster playbook. And they're going through it. This is very much a science.
Oh, it is a science.
And when I look at this, I'm thinking, we have no playbook?
Right.
Although I must say, there might be an advantage. After hearing Chuck all this week, you may say, well, at least I don't have a rotten playbook. I just don't have a playbook. Right?
Here's most advisors' playbook. That's what it looks like. It's blank. And how could you play the most important game of your life? There's no wonder you're coming home tired. You're not present with your family, and you're going to end up at the end of 20 years with no commercial value.
You were a big producer before you really got engaged with this, but you took it to a whole nother level. Was it hard for you to come under this idea of having a playbook?
No, because it became real apparent to me when Mark said, Chuck, when you're working on things that helping you grow, it's like watching your inventory walk out the door. And I conceded to the fact that I, too, was constantly working on things not helping myself grow. So before we wrap up, there's 4 stages in your playbook. Number 1, your vision. Why do you exist? What is your purpose? It's like Disney existed to make people happy. They didn't exist for cartoons and amusement parks. You don't exist to sell life insurance and investments any more than Domino's exists to sell pizza pies. So what is your purpose? And that is included in your vision. And then your strategy. Your strategy's part 2 of this whole series. How are you going to differentiate yourself? There's 5 industries now competing for the financial attention of the customers you want to engage. How will you differentiate yourself and engage these customers? How will you unlock value in ways that others aren't? That's your competitive advantage, or part 2, your strategy. And then number 3 is your goals. What are your goals? What are your 3-year goals? What are the things that if you focus on, of all the things you could do, what are the 3 short goals that if you'd hit them, they will excel you closest towards your vision and then your objectives? What things will you do over the next 12 weeks in order to accelerate and be on pace to those things? That's how you put your playbook in action.
Well, thank you so much for being with us all this week, Chuck. I'm telling you, when you're hearing it from a top producer who hangs with very, very lucrative professionals who are playing at the $500,000 and above target premium per year, this is the kind of thing I've seen. When I see people like this rearranging their playbook or actually coming up with a brand new one, this is where I want to go. Well, that's our show for today. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas you hear on our show, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. And don't forget, you can view all our past episodes at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you next week.